Great, thank you. Time for sport now, starting with football and the second of our previews ahead of the new Football League season, which gets underway tomorrow night.
Yesterday, we looked at League Two. This evening, it's upper division to League One. Plenty of interest and expectation, as John Shires now reports.
Rotherham's Paul Warne is perhaps the Football League's most reluctant manager. He admits he hates match days, but as a former Millers player and coach, his personal commitment to the club won through. Despite relegation from the Championship last season, he took the job, and he's delighted with pre-season, which included a training camp in Austria.
We ran every morning. I had the joy running them up the hills. The food was amazing, which, by the way, if you have 30 men for 7 days and no one complains about a meal, hugely impressive. But we had a couple of good games, got treated well, and the weather was right to train, and they were long days, but I think we got a lot into the lads, what we want to do this season. The players who have come in have settled in really well with the group, but they're really close. It feels like they've been here a while now, and I think they're just egging for the season to start.
Sometime this season, James Coppinger should make his 500th league appearance for Doncaster Rovers. The 36-year-old made his debut for the club way back in 2004, and he's been involved in 3 promotions, including last season's successful campaign.
James, on and off the pitch, is going to be a big player for us. He sets a fantastic example on the pitch, and, with James, you always say, well, it's another year, how will you get through it? But he always manages to.
So what is Ferguson's realistic ambition for Rovers this time round?
We haven't set one. We've got an expectation amongst ourselves of what we think we can do. Myself personally, as long as we're competitive in every game we play against every opposition, which we're capable of doing, then I'll be happy with that.
But Wagner says they need more training before they're ready for first team duty. Town, of course, go into the game second in the table after 2 wins. Wagner insists it's still early days.
We did our first steps to adapt into the Premier League. And of course, every victory helps you to progress, but it's in the past and now we have to look forward. We like to look forward to the next game, Southampton, very, very good opponent. I'm totally sure this team will finish in the top 10 at the end of the season, and we for sure have to make another step in the right direction and to be on our very best to be successful on Saturday.
Of course, we're not going to be able to play like that against all teams. That's obvious. But to see that we are able to do what is in our DNA here in the club, in those matches, and succeed with it, that gives confidence, and for sure we're going to continue doing that.
And boss David Wagner and new signing Matthias Jorgensen are confident they can bounce back against the former champions.
Setbacks are part of the game. It's all about your reaction, and this is what the group has shown, that they're able to handle setbacks, and this is what we like to show on Saturday as well.
We've gone into the first 3 games with a lot of enthusiasm, and of course we're a little bit disappointed and agree with what the manager said, that we couldn't bring that into the game away at the London Stadium, but now we're just that much more motivated to go into the next home game against Leicester, a really good side that I played twice last year, and go in and get a result on Saturday.
First away win since the opening day. They are expecting a difficult game. In his weekly press conference, David Wagner was full of praise for Sean Dyche's men.
This is a very hard-working team, a real team, not a team of full of individuals where everybody thinks, oh, give him the ball and he makes a difference, but an unbelievable team with a great work ethic. So this is a difficult task for us.
I think they're a little bit similar to us. They have a group that stick really well together. They have a good teamwork and work every time when they play. So I think the next game is really hard.
The basketball on show this weekend will be slightly unconventional, with shorter games, power plays and even 5-point shots on offer, something the players and coaches will have to get accustomed to if they're to win the prize money.
It's going to be a tricky tournament. So many different rules and bit of gimmick stuff. So it's not traditional basketball, and every team has improved this year. So we'll see where we are. It'll be a good test for us.
Now, and what a night for the Castleford Tigers. Luke Gale's drop goal in Golden Point extra time settled an enthralling semi-final against St Helens.
Amazingly, Gale's man of the match performance came just 2 weeks after having surgery to remove his appendix. His fitness was in doubt almost up to the eve of the match.
Well, the victory puts Cass into a Super League Grand Final for the first time. They'll play either Leeds or Hull FC following tonight's other semi-final, and we'll be live at Headingley in a few moments' time. But first, David Hurst looks back at how Castleford made history.
Get the ball, a big chase on him, Luke Gale with a drop goal! A golden moment from the boot of Castleford's unlikely hero. Luke Gale takes Castleford Tigers to Old Trafford. And to a date with destiny. This was the stuff of dreams for a club which has taken Super League by storm this season.
Wow, special night. Special group of men in there as well. We probably felt every emotion through that game.
Unbelievably proud, you know, massive achievement from us all. We've just got to go and play a little bit better next week now and give ourselves a chance.
It was an extraordinary last 11 minutes with Cass 20-10 up and coasting to victory.
Brilliant, love Luke Gale, and I don't know how he did it after having his appendix out, but love you.
Fantastic, 1 point, drop out, it's amazing. Come on Castleford, I believe, the town believes, let's all believe.
And it's belief which has got them this far, not only winning the League Leaders' Shield for the first time, but now on the cusp of a historic double if they win their first Super League Grand Final. At Weldon Road today, fans queued in the pouring rain for tickets for the Grand Final, not wanting to miss out on what feels to them like rugby heaven.
We've been to Whitehaven on a Thursday night, we've been to relegations, we've been there, done that, and this is why we're here.
Yeah, it's worth it, it's history.
You must be mad standing in this pouring rain.
Must be, but you've got to do it, haven't you? You've got to do it. First time we've been there, makes a change for rugby league, seeing somebody else there.
Back to the glory days for Cass.
Back to the glory days.
And the current team is making this rugby-mad town very proud once again. The man who's masterminded its revival says it is a team effort, but just had to mention the man of the moment, Luke Gale.
Oh, he's immense. I'm not giving him too much credit about his appendix. I had mine out when I was 7 and I was back at school week after, so yeah.
The glory days of Hardesty and Hepworth are long gone, and in their place are new heroes the fans will remember for many years to come. David Hurst, ITV News, Castleford.
The John Smith Stadium, and so far Town have conceded just 3 goals in their 6 games, but tomorrow they come up against England's Harry Kane, who scored 9 in his last 5 for Tottenham.
He is a proper goal scorer, right foot, left foot, header, everything. You give him space, he has a chance, he usually take it. So this means give him no chance, give him no space, and then he hopefully is not able to be successful. But they have so much qualities all over the park. This is why I think we are aware about him, but we are not only focused on him.
Meanwhile, on Sunday lunchtime, there's another Yorkshire derby in the Championship at Hillsborough, with both Sheffield Wednesday and Leeds United looking to bounce back from midweek defeats. Leeds are still 3rd in the table, but the game is arguably more significant for Wednesday. Remember, last weekend they were beaten in the Steel City derby, and another defeat would pile even more pressure on head coach Carlos Carvalhal. He's not bothered though. He says it is all part of the game.
I can say I'm comfortable because I feel hurt like the fans, but I'm completely ready to this moment. So it's not something that I can't manage. It's why I said last week, and I still saying that I'm strong. I feel strong. I feel very, very strong with my team.
I don't know the club. I don't know the pressure that he will have, but this is normal in football. That after some defeats, that you're gonna have the pressure on you to turn the situation. And this is what they have demanded from him to have a win against us. Normal situation.
Tomorrow when they travel to South Wales to take on Swansea. Head coach David Wagner has something of a selection dilemma. Should he rest influential midfielder Aaron Moy, who's just returned from a long trip representing Australia? And should he pick record signing Steve Mounier, who's back in training after missing Town's last 3 matches with a heel injury? Well, Wagner is hoping to get back to winning ways after 5 league matches without a victory.
They think, okay, Huddersfield could be opponent where we can collect some points. We think, okay, Swansea could be opponent where we could collect some points. And we will try everything. We will prepare us as good as we can, and then we go into the game like we've done in the past and try our best.
I think it's a team where we can hurt them at some points, but I think it's also a team that we need to be very wary of, as is with every other team in this league.
Ceylon tomorrow night. Josh, who's won every one of his 25 professional fights, weighed in today ahead of tomorrow night's bill at the Leeds Arena. The fight with Ceylon is a final eliminator for a shot at the IBF World Featherweight title, currently held by Lee Selby.
After this, there's no other than the world title, and that's the big fight that I want. I'm so close now, but all my focus is on doing the business tomorrow and getting that win.
Ellen Road,
I'd love to get there. Big fight with Lee Selby at Carthampton. I've just got to get it through tomorrow, and then we'll look to May, June time, and Ellen Road would be perfect.
Although Sheffield Wednesday fans may take exception to that comment from Chris Wilder, they take on Barnsley tomorrow lunchtime at Hillsborough. Now, both teams have struggled in the bottom half of the Championship so far. Wednesday head coach Carlos Carvalhal under enormous pressure, with his side having lost 4 of the last 5 games. Barnsley too have been struggling for form, with just 1 win in their last 7 Championship fixtures.
We know that we have quality, we know that we have organisation, and sometimes we talked before, the mentality is not absolutely focused in all the games, which is why we are inconsistent so far. And we are working hard to put everybody more focused, more ready.
It's a big game, we know people enjoy it, we know lots of Wednesday fans, Barnsley fans work together. I walked in on 2 fans arguing about yesterday in Bill Base, and they saw me walk in and they didn't say out for a while, and then they start talking about it again.
On Sunday, it'll be 2 years since David Wagner took over as head coach of Huddersfield Town. After playing Manchester United and Liverpool in successive matches, he might be hoping for a bit of respite when they take on West Brom at the John Smiths tomorrow. But Wagner is well aware that every game in the Premier League has to be approached the same way.
We've seen that every single of these 19 opponents in the Premier League are stronger than probably at least 22 of the opponents we met last season in the Championship. So this means we have to be on our best consistently every weekend.
It's the international break this weekend, so for the Premier League and Championship teams, but there's still a tasty South Yorkshire derby in League One tomorrow to whet the appetite. Paul Warne's Rotherham United will be looking to jump into the playoff places when they make the short trip to Doncaster, who, under Darren Ferguson, have won 5 of their last 8 matches.
When you take 4,000 people there, I presume they're all going to be down the bottom goal. It will give the lads a massive boost, and I think for the lads who aren't local to the area, they'll make them realise it is a big game for everybody, and hopefully it will emulate some of our home performances, and we can go there and really try and take all the points.
There's going to be over 11,000 in here on Saturday, so the atmosphere will be great, and a game the players should really be looking forward to. And in derby matches, the only thing that counts is who wins, and you won a performance and all that, but it won't make any difference. You've got to win the game.
Football now on Sunday sees the biggest test yet of Huddersfield Town's Premier League adventure with the visit of leaders Manchester City. It's 17 years since the 2 clubs last met in the league at the John Smith Stadium. Back in 2000, both were in the 2nd tier. Clyde Vinehard scored the Terriers' goal in a 1-1 draw. Since then, City have become one of the biggest clubs in the world, and Town's head coach David Wagner admits he's been looking forward to playing against the Premier League giants.
It sounds more like Champions League rather than Premier League for us. But this is how the fixtures are, and we take them and we will try our best. So this is exactly why we are in this Premier League, because we wanted to show that we can try our best, and sometimes we have shown that we are more than competitive against these very big teams in the Premier League, and this is what we really try to do.
Huddersfield Town head coach David Wagner says the fans have a big role to play if the Terriers are to arrest their own recent slump in form. The Terriers have lost their last 4 Premier League games, but come up against a Brighton side they beat earlier this year in the Championship. They've won 3 out of 7 at home of Huddersfield, and Wagner believes the support at the John Smiths has played a big part.
They give us a lift. They've done it in the past, and they have to do it in the future as well, especially now on Saturday. We all together were always able to trust each other, the players, the supporters, and the other way around as well. And this is why this football club is so extraordinary.
Team win West Ham tomorrow, that would lift them above Huddersfield in the table, as just 2 points separate the sides. Town's first defeat, incidentally, of the season actually came at West Ham back in September.
West Ham away was one of the performances with Swansea maybe together where I think we really underperformed. So I was not happy with what we've shown there, and there is something we all together like to correct.
Thanks, John. We're going to start with football, and Huddersfield Town will be looking for a first Premier League win in 6 matches when they travel to Stoke tomorrow. The Terriers are just 4 points above their opponents, who this week appointed Paul Lambert as their new manager. A change in management often leads to a change in form, but Town head coach David Wagner isn't overly concerned.
Usually you never like really to play against a team when the opponent team changed the manager a few days before you meet them, but in this case, to be totally honest, we played Stoke 3 or 4 weeks ago, so we are totally aware about the individuals, what they are capable of.
Of course, it's a very important game for us, and it's a game where we have a lot to lose, but also a lot to win, and that's what has to be in our mindset before the game.
And it's the FA Cup 4th round this weekend, and the big question is, how seriously are our region's remaining clubs taking it? Well, Huddersfield Town take on Birmingham City tomorrow, and head coach David Wagner could make 11 changes from the side that lost at Stoke last weekend. Amongst those that's certain to be rested is midfielder Aaron Moy, who Wagner admits has been looking tired recently. But he insists the cup is still important to the club, and they will be paying Birmingham every respect.
They had their problems so far, yes, of course they had. This is why they are in the bottom 3 in the championship. But we give them all the respect which they deserved, even if that doesn't change that we like to be successful at home in the John Smith Stadium and like to come into the next round.
Thank you. Well, some sport now. Barnsley head coach Paul Heckingbottom says there's been no contact with Sunderland about their managerial vacancy. The 40-year-old has been strongly linked with a return to the Wearside club, where he began his playing career in the mid-90s. But when questioned at today's press conference, Heckingbottom said he'd not heard from anyone at Sunderland.
You'd like to think you're on people's list. Whether they take it any further is down to them. And like I say, it's no different to me. You've been sitting here before when you've asked similar questions about other situations, and all I can do is guess. I can make things up to tell you, or I can just say as it stands, there's nothing in it.
Meanwhile, old rivalries will be resumed tomorrow lunchtime as Barnsley take on Leeds in the Championship. The Reds will be looking to take advantage of United's poor recent run, and if they're looking for inspiration, well, Barnsley's players need look no further than head coach Paul Heckingbottom, who grew up playing against Leeds. Well, sort of.
Like I said before, when I was growing up, where I was from, you're a Barnsley fan or a Leeds fan, and when you played on the pitch, when we played, field behind our house, it was Leeds against Barnsley. Leeds lads were older than us, and always used to kick smoke out of us, and we hated Leeds and they hated us, and that's how it was. And then I remember the first time playing at Ellen Road, I saw all them in the crowd, playing against them, so that was nice.
Huddersfield Town now could take a big step towards Premier League salvation tomorrow if they can win at relegation rivals West Brom. The Baggies are struggling at the foot of the table, 7 points behind the Terriers in 17th. What's more, they've had off-the-field problems with recent boardroom sackings and reports of players breaking a club curfew and stealing a taxi on a winter training trip to Spain last week. But Town boss David Wagner says that's all immaterial.
This isn't a case why I think it's a good time to meet them. I think it's a good time to meet them because of us, because of our momentum, because of our performances we have shown in the past. So the players know exactly what they are capable of, and it's up to us to show it again against West Brom. It's a very difficult game.
No matter what happens, they're going to come out and fight for the points that they desperately need, and we're going to go there and fight for the points that we desperately need. So I don't think that their off-field issues are going to have any impact on the field.
Well, there's a tasty Yorkshire derby in the Championship this evening as Hull City face Sheffield United at the Cacon Stadium. The Blades won against QPR on Tuesday night to move to within a couple of points of the playoffs, while the Tigers lost 4-0 at Middlesbrough, and only goal difference is keeping them above the drop zone. But Hull can take heart from the fact that they haven't actually lost at home since the end of November.
We're going to do what we normally do. You know, as I said, we've been defensively very resolute, very compact in how we've played. We have to work extremely hard against a very good Sheffield United side, and I just go back to the way we were in the last home game against Leeds United. We were outstanding that night, so we just got to replicate what we've done there.
We know when we win, we make a distance. When we lose, the distance will be slower to each other. So we must be careful, but we must not afraid. We must have the confidence to win there.
Really looking forward to it. Great fixture in the calendar. Sell out, I should imagine. It's going to be a lively game and one that we're looking forward to. And if we can do a double over Leeds United, that'd be great.
Boxing and former world champion Kell Brook is putting the finishing touches on his return to the ring in a fortnight's time after holding a public workout in Sheffield this afternoon. Despite all the talk of a British showdown with Amir Khan later in the year, Brook is focusing on beating his former sparring partner Sergei Rebchenko on March the 3rd.
I've seen it many times before, people looking past their opponent and end up getting knocked out, they end up getting beat. I've got to have my eyes focused on Rebchenko. I've got to get through him. He's the man on my mind at the minute. I've got to get past him, and then we can talk about the future.
On to football now, and in the last hour it's been announced that Barnsley manager Paul Heckingbottom has signed a new contract with the Championship club. Meanwhile, Hull City could add debuts to former Barnsley captain Angus MacDonald and Harry Wilson when they travel to Preston tomorrow. The Tigers are above the Championship relegation zone only on goal difference after a run of 8 league games without a win, but manager Nigel Adkins believes his team haven't got the rewards for their endeavour in recent weeks.
It's going to be a tough game, but I think they're going to think it's a tough game as well, because if you look at the series of performances we've been putting in, we're competitive, we're creating chances, we're looking as though we're hard to beat, and there's a togetherness about us. So whoever we play, they know they're going to be in for a tough game as well.
And it's the FA Cup 4th round this weekend, and the big question is, how seriously are our region's remaining clubs taking it? Well, Huddersfield Town take on Birmingham City tomorrow, and head coach David Wagner could make 11 changes from the side that lost at Stoke last weekend. Amongst those that's certain to be rested is midfielder Aaron Moy, who Wagner admits has been looking tired recently. But he insists the cup is still important to the club and they will be paying Birmingham every respect.
They had their problems so far, yes, of course they had. This is why they are in the bottom 3 in the Championship. But we give them all the respect which they deserved, even if that doesn't change that we like to be successful at home in the John Smith Stadium and like to come into the next round.
On Sunday, well, there are, of course, games in the Championship and Premier League, and this evening at Elland Road, there's a big test for Leeds United against Steve Bruce's in-form Aston Villa. Thomas Christiansen has seen his side win 2 out of their last 3 games after a dip in form which saw them go 7 games without a victory.
We have got a little bit more confidence in the team, showing also that we keep a clean sheet again after several games without doing it. So this is positive, again, for the confidence. And this is what we have to build on. It's important to take 2 wins in a row, and this is our mission and our target for the game tomorrow.
Well, on to football now, and there's a Yorkshire derby in the Championship as Leeds welcome Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow afternoon. Leeds head coach Paul Heckingbottom says although derbies have changed a lot over the last 10 years, the big game atmosphere will always have an effect on players. Wednesday boss Jos Lucahay says he's made it very clear what improvements he needs to see ahead of the trip to Elland Road.
I hope in the trainings that we have Saturday the good feeling, of course, but also that we make a very good job as a team for defending, but also, of course, to the offensive. Why you play and you will like to win, and that's what we try.
Pride at stake, bragging rights, Wednesday fighting for points. We want the points, we're desperate for the points, but so Sheffield Wednesday for a different reason. So. It adds an extra edge to the game, definitely.
Huddersfield boss David Wagner insists confidence is high after securing 7 points from the last 4 league games. The Terriers welcome Crystal Palace to the John Smith Stadium tomorrow. They sit just 3 places behind them in the relegation zone. Huddersfield received an additional boost today ahead of the clash as they announced they will make goalkeeper Jonas Loss's deal permanent in July.
He made the step over and adapted from the Bundesliga, where he didn't have the best season, to the Premier League, where he performed from day one. Very good, and he's a very good character as well, open-minded guy. He has an opinion which he shows in the dressing room as well if necessary.
Thanks, Mary. Well, sticking with sporting matters, and the Huddersfield Giants interim head coach, Chris Thorman, hasn't ruled out an extended run in charge of the team. The 37-year-old, who captained Huddersfield in the 2006 Challenge Cup final, took charge after the sacking of Rick Stone on Tuesday. His first game is a local derby against Leeds tomorrow, where he'll be looking for a response from the players after just 2 wins from their opening 7 Super League games.
You don't aspire to become just an assistant coach, do you? So it's out of my control to an extent. I don't make the decision, but what I do control right now is how this team can perform in the next couple of games, and that's what my priority is. It's about putting some back-to-back performances in that get us a bit of positivity back within the group, within the town, within the club, and that's what we need to do immediately.
Meanwhile, Huddersfield Town hope to kickstart their Premier League campaign after the international break when they travel to Newcastle United tomorrow. The Terriers are precariously close to the relegation zone after picking up just 1 point from 2 home games against Swansea and Crystal Palace. Victory on Tyneside tomorrow would be a huge boost to their survival hopes.
If Huddersfield Town beats Newcastle United, this is a very big thing, and this happened now. Once in this season and once in the last season as well. We lost 1 game as well, so we will see. It's an exciting game, like I said.